Hello, I'm Christopher, a research software engineer with Research Software Workshops, and it's a very warm welcome to Intermediate R Part 1. Now, all of the material is here at chriswoods.com/intermediateR, and if you go to that site, this is the page you'll see. Now, welcome to this short course which will introduce you to some more of the R programming language. Now, this workshop builds on top of our Beginning R workshop, and the aim is, together with Beginning R, we will introduce enough of the language to you that you'll be ready to then learn how to use R to perform data analysis and visualization. For example, then you can tackle the Introduction to Data Analysis with R workshop, which follows this one. Now, this workshop is set as a series of chapters or parts, and you can jump ahead to any one you wish. Now, for the purpose of this workshop, we'll be using RStudio. If you haven't installed and got RStudio working, then please follow the instructions that we set at the beginning of the Beginning R workshop. Now start RStudio on your computer, and it should open a window which will look something like this. Now before we get going, this is very bright, particularly when you're watching it on a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the appearance of my RStudio. So I'm going to change the colours by going to Preferences, and then Appearance, and I quite like the idle fingers theme. So you can see I'll just change the colours here, and now when I click apply, there we are, we've now changed the colours of our RStudio. Now you can change the colours to whichever colour you wish, whatever takes your fancy, and remember everyone's RStudio will look slightly different, so don't worry if yours does not look exactly like this. Now in Beginning R, we set up RStudio to have a text editor and a terminal as our focus. And we would write commands into the text editor, and then we'd save the file, and then we would then use the RScript program to then run the file using RScript file.r. Now in this Intermediate R workshop, we're going to do something else. We're going to use more of RStudio, and so we're going to set this workspace up in a different way. Now we're going to use here the console, which is here on the left hand pane. We have here the environment in this top right, and then down at the bottom here we have help. So this is in the same pane as we had the file browser. I'm now just going to look at the help that we have here. So click on these and make sure you can see the console, the environment, and your help browser. Now in Beginning R, you saw that R scripts were really just text files that contained instructions which were written in the R programming language. We wrote those instructions into the text file, we saved them, and then we ran them using RScript, which was the R interpreter program. Now RStudio provides the console. The RStudio console provides an interactive way for us to run our R commands. Now the console is an interactive window, and it will actually run the R commands as we type them. So for example here, if I type print hello from R, and now I press return, we can see that this line of R has been interactively processed, and then the output printed directly to the screen. This is really useful. And you can see that this R command is interpreted immediately, with the result printed and available immediately. Now, this is very useful because it means you can run your R commands interactively, but also you can get help as you're writing. So if you type the question mark before any command and then hit return, the help for that command will pop up here into the help browser. Again, very, very useful. It helps you learn how to use R. Now you may have also noticed that when I was typing, for example, if I type PRI, a pop-up from RStudio comes as it tries to auto-complete what you're trying to write. So RStudio will try and guess what you're typing, and it will put a pop-up here to say, what is it? These are the things you can actually write at this point. And what's more, you notice as you select which one it may be, you get a little bit of help as well on the right to see this is the right choice. And if it is the right choice, we'll just click it. And there we are, we have the command. And then we can just run the command as we did before. Now, what we're going to do next is let's now create a variable in our console. Indeed, we're going to create a list. So I'm going to do my list is assigned from the list 1, 2, 3. Now when I type return, we notice that here we actually have in the environment, the actual variable mylist is now visible. The environment contains all of the variables that you've created within a single RStudio session. So for example, here is our variable mylist. We can see this is a numeric list of 3 items, and the values are 1, 2, and 3. The environment is a good way to just kind of see what data do I have already available to me within my RStudio session, my R console session. Now next to the Environment tab, we have this History tab. If we click on History, we can see we have here a list of all of the commands that we've run so far in RStudio. Again, this is useful because it means we can select one of the commands. For example, let's do print hello. And if I now click to source, that will then put it into a text file, which we could then use to save these commands later, which I'll then quit this because I don't want to save that. And if I click to console, it actually copies the command directly and puts it into the console. So again, it helps us find the things we ran before and then reuse them. Now, these are all very useful tools. It means we can write our R interactively and we can have a rough record of what we're doing. And this is useful for teaching, and they're excellent for helping you explore, learn and play with R. And indeed, as we'll see in the next workshop, they're also great for interactive data cleaning and also for interactive data visualization. However, you must be careful when you use these kind of interactive tools because they can lead you to produce non-reproducible analyses that are difficult to share with one another. Because your variables are held within the history and the environment and whatever's here in your RStudio, it means that it can be difficult for you to share the exact state of RStudio with another person. So what we recommend is that you use RStudio Console with these tools as a way to interactively play and learn, but once you've then worked out what your analysis is, you should still write the R into a text file so that then that text file can be saved, run using RScript, and then also stored in, say, a version controlled repository or shared easily with others. So just remember in this workshop, RStudio is just an interface to run your R code interactively. To share and reproduce your analyses, you will still need to write text file R scripts. So with that, that's the end of part 1, getting started. We can then move on to part 2, which will be in the next video, and I look forward to seeing you there.